Today, we are going to discuss teens and their social media usage and what impact it is having on their life, their education, and their social skills. Social media is no longer the online platform for adults and late teens only. TheDailyMail.com estimates that by the age of 10 years old, almost 52% of all young people have used some form of social media. With this being said, we must now start taking into great consideration what the impact of social media is having on our youth and our young learners. Webster's Dictionary defines social media as websites and applications that enable users to create and share content or to participate in social networking. Using this definition of social media, it is helpful to look at our teenagers today, aged 13 to 17, and what type of social medias they're using. Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat are by far the most popular social media platforms that 13 to 17-year-olds claim that they are using according to PBS NewsHour. When looking at adult versus teenage social media usage, it is important to note that adults may have a somewhat skewed perspective of what social networking and social media is most prominent. As you can see on the graph, adults actually use Pinterest and Instagram more often than their teen counterparts, while teens predominantly use social media apps like Facebook and Twitter. This is very important to notice as an adult that there is a definite difference in those social media platforms and the type of networking that is being done. We've seen how age plays a role in what type of social media is being used, but we also need to look at overall usage as compared to age. 81% of all 13 to 18-year-olds use some sort of social media, going all the way up to 89% for young adults at the ages of 18 to 29, and dropping all the way down to only 43% of 65-year-old plus adults are using social media. This is going to have a drastic impact on how older age groups view the realistic usage of social media by younger people. Realizing the differences between social media usage amongst age groups is just the first steps that adults, parents, and teachers must make in bridging the gap between young people and adults when it comes to technology and social media. When we're looking at what teens are actually sharing on these applications, especially apps like Facebook and Instagram, we can see that an overwhelming majority of teenagers post information to the public like their real name, their interests, their birthdays, the city or town they're currently living in, and what school they go to. While this is worrisome, parents should also realize that 91% of teenagers post pictures of themselves, 24% have posted videos of themselves, and 53% of teenagers have posted their email address, and 20% have posted their cell phone address. This makes our teenagers and students very accessible to the public and the outside world, making it even harder to keep track of who's having contact with our students and children. Now that we know what students and children are sharing and what applications they're sharing it on, it might be important to note what type of devices are giving our students and our learners access to these social media platforms online. Of all teenagers polled by the Pew Research Center, 87% of all teenagers have access to social media through a desktop computer or a laptop computer. 81% have access through some sort of gaming console, and 73% have access through a smartphone. Of that 73% that have access through a smartphone, Pew Research Centers also found that 24% of all teenagers would rate themselves as going online almost constantly due to the fact that they have a smartphone and accessibility to that smartphone at nearly all times of the day or night. With this nearly 24/7 constant accessibility to social media, researchers, parents, and educators have been left wondering what negative and ill side effects will be left on the children that use these platforms on a nearly constant or daily basis. Pew Research Centers, through NextStepCommunitySolutions.com, did a study on comparing students that use social media on a daily basis and those that do not. Compared to students that spend no time on social networking sites in a typical day, Their counterparts that do use social media on a regular basis are 5 times more likely to use tobacco, 3 times likelier to use alcohol, and 2 times as likely to use marijuana. In conclusion, I think it is safe to say that social media is an ever-evolving form of communication that older generations of educators, learners, parents, and adults are going to have to adapt to due to the increasing usage by our young people, students, and teenagers. Social media, while not all bad, does have some negative side effects that include constant usage, possible leading to alcohol, tobacco, and drug usage, as seen by peers on social media that may be posting images or videos of them doing so as well, and the 24% of teenagers that report constantly being on their phone trying to access social media. Social media should not be condemned or completely taken out of context as something negative, but us as parents, educators, and leaders must do a better job of being up to date on what our students and learners are doing on the internet and their social media usage.